Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm starting a new segment called Awesome Games from A to Z. So what that means is I'm going to start off at the letter A and I'm going to talk about my favorite games that start with the letter A and move on from there. So the first video is just going to be on A, and I got this idea. This isn't my entire idea. I mean, I got this from Arcade USA's Willie. We were having a chat not that long ago, and we were talking about different ideas on creating videos and stuff, coming up with topics. And he's currently doing an A to Z where he focuses only on the Atari 2600, and he's picking a game from each letter and reviewing it. And the other challenge that he threw out there was that he wanted to collect the entire box, the manual, the cartridge, like literally complete, and kind of dissect everything, talk about the cover and all that. I'm not going to do that. Mine's different. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about multiple systems and multiple games, all that start with A. That way, there's no way I'm going to be able to collect all of the packaging and all that stuff. And this is a way to just expand on the idea and talk about my favorite games. So for this first video, I'm going to start off naturally with the A, and for my first system, I'm going to be talking about the Commodore 64. I did play a lot of the Commodore 64 when I was a kid. I think I probably spent more time on that than I did on the Intellivision, even though the Intellivision was my first system. I think I actually spent more time on the Commodore 64. And that being said, I still had to rack my brain as to what games that I play that started with A. And so I was kind of going through my list of games, and I was just checking out what I had, and the one that jumped out at me was Aztec Challenge. Now, this probably is on other systems. I didn't check, but I only played it on the Commodore 64, and I really enjoyed this game. It had multiple levels. It starts you off. It's fairly hard too. I mean, it starts you off. You're running through a desert. There's arrows being shot at you. You have to duck. You have to jump. It's kind of like Jungle Hunt in a way, but you're running forward. So it kind of has that forward look to it, and you could see the pyramid you're trying to run to slowly getting bigger as you're getting closer. So they try to give that kind of 3D perspective idea. But, I mean, it's different. And then it goes to, from that, if you pass that, if you survive, then you go to this, the part where you're actually climbing the steps, and stones are coming down at you, and now it's a different perspective. You're actually moving up this way, and the stones are coming down, and you just gotta dodge the stones. And then when you get to the top of that, then you gotta run through a bridge, and again, there's stuff coming at you. You gotta jump over holes and stuff. And each level just gets harder and harder. There's a level where you have to battle these, like, I think they're alligators or something like that, and there's spiders coming at you. Then there's these pits you have to jump over. So each level provides a different gameplay, a different obstacle you have to pass until you get to the end. It's a really interesting game, and it was one of the few games that I played that actually had multiple levels like that were very difficult. And so yeah, I mean, I spent quite a bit of time playing that game. I haven't played it in a while, and it's probably something I should look at, probably in another review, to actually just look at the game. Moving on, though, I mean, I couldn't really find any other Commodore 64 games that I really played that start with A. But for the Intellivision, I found a couple. So the first one I'm going to show, and I've talked about this one before, is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So, yeah, I mean, oftentimes I just call this Dungeons and Dragons, but you have to remember it's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I've shown this off in a few videos. This was one of my favorite go-to games for the Intellivision. I played this one a lot. It's also, well, it's got the two main screens, but it also has a lot of changes in there. Like, you don't feel like you're playing the same game twice. It's very interesting, and you get to collect your arrows, you get to shoot dragons and demons, and you get to find a boat, an axe, and stuff like that. I mean, it's fairly well done for an Intellivision-style game. Of course, it has its overlays. You need those. That's how you shoot. You gotta know what the button to push to shoot. You don't just directionally shoot. And I just dropped it. And so yeah, I mean, you gotta worry about that when you open these things up. Everything just flies out. The second one that I was going to show off was Astro Smash. This is a natural choice because I think this is one of the better, more iconic games of the Intellivision. In fact, I've said this before, I think this game should have come packaged with it rather than the poker and blackjack that they gave people. But for whatever reason, they decided to give you a card game. I don't know. But this is, I mean, it's a simple game, simple graphics. It's kind of takes the idea of asteroids. I've talked about this as well. I did a comparison video on this one and Astro Blast on the Atari, which is very similar. But I've always liked this one. It's very colorful. Your levels, you know, the levels change, the colors change, the difficulty increases, and I never got tired of playing this. Like, it was always fun. So this definitely made the list of A for Intellivision. Now I'm going to move on to the Atari, because I play a lot of Atari as well. And two games popped to my head, and actually this one was the same as Willie's, and that's Adventure. I mean, this is a classic. This one is kind of like, you know, it's wants to be this, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't as graphically pleasing. But you have this little dot, you got to go around, and you got to, you know, find a key, you got to fight dragons. Very similar idea, very similar concept, but this has a much wider range of places to go, and it has multiple difficulty levels which change. This one just changes in complexity as far as the monsters coming after you. Whereas this guy, I mean, you got your first basic level. You just gotta, it's very easy. You just run up to the castle, grab the chalice, come back, and then you're done. But then on the second and third ones, they amp it up. They hide things in the maze. They have darkness where you can't see anything. You're kind of navigating through this dark maze. It gets really tough. In fact, I've never completed it on difficulty 2 or 3. So, you know, maybe I need to play it a lot more just to get used to the map. But I just can't get anywhere on it. But, you know, I enjoy playing it. And I was very shocked when I first heard of this game that this even existed on the Atari. So, like, when I had my Atari when I was a kid, I never even heard of this game. So it's a really fun game. It's very interesting and different compared to some of the other Atari games out there. So yeah, so those are the games that I found. I looked into my Nintendo. I didn't see anything in Nintendo that I really enjoyed playing anyways. I mean, there's some games like, I guess it was like The Adventures of, what was it, Gilligan's Island or something like that. I played that game. I wouldn't put that under an A, though. That would be G for me, because it was more of a Gilligan's Island game. And it was okay. And then, like other games where I don't own them, like Arkanoid, I've never played it. You know, I don't have the cartridge. So I didn't really find anything in Nintendo. And same with the Sega. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything that I really have or liked for the A. So hopefully I can keep doing this and get all the way up to Z. I know other people pronounce it Z. Very well of that. But in Canada, we pronounce it Z. So I'm going to go A to Z. And my next one will be B. So hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of those games in the comments below. If you agree or if you think that some of the game choices I picked out are crap, I would like to hear it. And I'd like to hear your suggestions for future letters. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.